Halifax is quickly getting the reputation as one of Canada's best sports cities. You want proof? How about playing host to some of the biggest sporting events in Canada, like the 2003 World Juniors?
Stage and centers it. One-way goal, Lochin scores!
The CIS Final 10, the Brier, and the Women's Worlds. And you can make it 8 straight for Canada. And when it comes to university sports, the fans out east may be the most rabid in all of Canada. Tonight, the CFL kicks off Touchdown Atlantic, and the folks in Halifax are ready to go. It's the Argos and the Ticats next on a special edition of Wendy's CFL Live.
Well, it had been a Chamber of Commerce day here in historic Halifax, but then the North Atlantic foghorns sounded about a half hour ago, and we expect some fog patches today. The temperature 15 degrees. And the two coaches last night at the kickoff dinner trying to woo support from the Haligonian crowd.
Greg Marshall led the Hamilton Tiger Cats to a 9-8-1 record as your coach of the year, but a finalist in that category, Mike Pinball Clements, who of course took the big prize, the Grey Cup Championship, the Toronto Argonauts.
Pinball in a select group that has won the cup as a player and a head coach. Jamie Borum has it on the tee. Capacity House here at Husky Stadium for Touchdown Atlantic. And it's high time for some maritime football underway from Halifax. And this is Greg Golden, a reserve defensive back, bringing the ball over the 30-yard line, and a 26-yard return. There's the Grey Cup MVP. Let's meet the Argos starting offense. Brought to you by Tums. Tums tackles heartburn fast.
Well, the only new name in that starting lineup for Toronto Argonauts fans will be Hakeem Hill, starting at running back. John Avery was left back in Toronto due to a small injury. Robert Baker, the go-to guy in the Grey Cup a year ago. There's your offensive line. It's a veteran group. They're back together, led by Chad Folk at center.
Plenty of firepower for the Argonauts, the Grey Cup champions who feel they were just hitting on all cylinders at the end of the year. And they'll dump it off to Hakeem Hill all the way up to the 50-yard line, put the shoulder down, and drove for a few more. His father, J.D. Hill, the former Buffalo Bill All-Pro.
I don't know about you, but I missed a little of that CFL action right there. It's nice to see it back. This Hamilton defense has got some changes, especially up front. Jeremy Lawrence had to get over there and make that tackle on Hakeem Hill. There's the changes, of course. Joe Mumford, all-time Ticat leader, is gone. Johnny Scott from that defensive line also gone. James Cotton's in there. Jeremy Lawrence they want to take a look at in this preseason. There's your secondary. Wayne Shaw starts this year at free safety.
And they'll have to adjust that secondary for Hamilton. Diedrich Mathis, the only Ticat who starts in the same position from last year, took the brunt of that hit from Hill.
Hakeem Hill gets it out in the flat and gets to use his speed. Boy, the Toronto Argonauts love Hakeem Hill. They say that he can do it all. He's a great blocker. He's got tremendous speed. He can make you miss or he can run over you. And he just ran over Diedrich Mathis.
And just 21 years of age, not NFL draft eligible for another season. Off-field problems had him leave Arizona State, and the Argos say that he has so far been a model citizen with a high work ethic. And he has proved that,
you know,
belongs.
And even, Chris, when you have continuity like Mike Clements has with the Toronto Argonauts in this lineup, very few changes. John Avery, we mentioned, is healthy. Can't wait to see John Avery healthy because last year he played hurt the entire season, but you bring in some competition at every position if you can, and that's exactly what Hakeem Hill has done at that running back spot. And I think the Argos would like to keep them both, if they can.
Well, they're interested to see how he returns kicks tonight, too, which gives you an indication that they may have some plans for the kid.
Well, that's what this game is about for the head coach. It's about evaluation. And, boy, I know this is a preseason game, Chris, but it sure doesn't feel like that with the atmosphere here in Hamilton. Coaches want to evaluate. They want to be careful with their starters. But this, for all intents and purposes, has felt like a regular season game. In fact, a lot have said it's felt like a mini Grey Cup.
Well, you're not going to tell Diedrich Mathis it's preseason right now. It doesn't matter. He is getting up, and Connor Healy, a youngster out of Laurier, will come in. And at the black and gold game last Saturday, the kid made some plays on the corner, so it'll be interesting to see him now on the hot seat.
Well, he gets a chance to get a few more reps, and if you're a newcomer into the lineup, that's really the best case scenario for you. Get out there, get some reps, make something happen, and catch the eye of your head coach, in this case, Greg Marshall.
So Greg Marshall sees his top defensive player from a year ago leave after the first play, a 20-yard gain for Hakeem Hill. And the Argos close to midfield. Now we'll see Hill, a ball carrier, and a short gain there as Jeremy Lawrence and Devontae Peterson close quickly.
Talked about speed for Hakeem Hill, and you think about the 100-meter sprint, and anything under 11 seconds, anything under 12 seconds is fast. Hakeem Hill ran the 100 meters in 10.46. World-class speed, the running back position. He gets some open field, and watch him fly. Atlantic Canada football fans are going to have a treat.
Hill with a yard on that carry. 2nd and 9 with Allen out of the shotgun. Throws it in the flat, and the ball skipped away from R.J. Soward, incomplete.
Talked about showcasing Canadian football in Atlantic Canada, and in the opening we talked, what a better way to do it than have two of the greatest quarterbacks in CFL history in Damon Allen, the all-time leader in passing yards. Grey Cup was the most valuable player. Mike Clemens last night at the dinner, a huge dinner put on here for all the players. Mike Clemens stood up and reminded all the fans and explained to them what Damon Allen did in that Grey Cup game, which is stand up and talk to his teammates and say to his teammates, we're playing this Grey Cup and I'm playing it for you. And they went out and won it.
And there's Steve Suter back along with Hugh Smith to accept the punt from Noel Prefontaine. A battle for the return duties in Hamilton. No yards as that ball was fielded by Hugh Smith. And a 33-yard punt by Prefontaine as Danny McManus leads the Hamilton offense out.
And talk about marquee guys. There you go, Danny McManus. Why not have the leading rusher from a year ago in Canadian football, Troy Davis, in the lineup for the fans of Atlantic Canada? A solid receiving core. In fact, maybe that's their biggest improvement. The addition over from the BC Lions, of course, Chris Brazel. There's your offensive line. Cooler, Carl Coulter, retired in the offseason after a tremendous career. Tim Baker has big shoes to fill there.
And they'll honor Carl Coulter in the rematch on June 17th at Ivor Wynn. Danny McManus goes to work. First play, DJ Flick, his favorite receiver at the end of last season. Short gain as we check that outstanding Argo defense.
Last year, this defense really led the way when Damon Allen went down. They're a big play defense and everyone's back. Kevin Iben, starting for the first year last year at the linebacker spot, led the Canadian Football League with 110 tackles. Michael O'Shea, the veteran, back there with him. There's your secondary. A ton of interceptions, folks, in that group.
And Michael Fletcher, a little eager. And flags fly.
Well, the guys really want to put on a show. And, you know, we talked to them last night about how they approach this game because it is difficult. Some guys going to play.
Toronto number 2. Repeat second down.
They're only going to play a quarter or two. Some of the starters won't see the entire football game. But when they're out there, you know a guy like Michael Fletcher wants to make something happen and get this crowd on their feet.
5-yard offside penalty against the Argo defense means it's 2nd and 2. And a lot more in the playbook for Danny McManus. With protection, Chris Brazel, the newcomer, and he is stopped near the line of scrimmage and will not get the first down.
Chris Brazel, I mentioned, coming over from the BC Lions. And what Chris Brazel will give the Hamilton Tiger Cats this year is a vertical stretch. In other words, his speed going down the field will loosen up that defense to allow some of the playmakers like a DJ Flick or a Craig Yeast or Archie Amerson, who's not here. He's left in Hamilton due to injury. Allow them to have more room underneath. You need the vertical stretch to have balance. Chris Brazel gives the Hamilton Tiger Cats that stretch.
The Ticats need less than a yard, and they'll gamble. On 3rd down, they give to the big fullback, Julian Radlin, who has the first down pending a flag.
Take the penalty.
And you get the call from the head coach.
He's going to take the penalty.
First down.
Automatic first down. You saw that Julian Radlin took that.
Offside. Toronto on the defensive line. 5-yard penalty. First down.
He took that ball on a short yardage situation 2 years ago when Danny McManus was injured in the preseason. It was a real simple play like that, a little fall forward where he hurt his knee, and it really put the Ticats season in a tailspin, a season that ended up 1-17 2 years ago. Greg Marshall corrected it last year with a great year at 9-8-1, but they don't want to get McManus hurt in the preseason.
And not a bad call with Radlin at 235 pounds. Here's the leading rusher in the CFL a year ago, and the Argos, who were vulnerable against the run last season, are stingy with Troy Davis on his first carry.
Kevin Ivan over there to make the tackle. Troy Davis, you mentioned, Chris, the leading rusher in Canadian football. What a season he had, 1,628 yards. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats stayed committed to the run, as you can see, with 324 carries. Now, he had some contract problems during the offseason. I'll call them challenges. Did get to a contract. Now it's all about football.
Only a yard on his first carry, so 2nd and 9. Argos show blitz. McManus had some time and overthrows Mike Moriali, who was a questionable starter for this game. A tender hamstring, and so the Ticats will have to kick the ball away.
For the quarterbacks and the receivers, even though they played together in the past, and of course McManus and Morielli have many years, but it's still about timing. They've only had about 15, 16 practices together since a long offseason has gone by, so it's about timing for the offense, trying to get the quarterback and receivers on the same page.
See big Chuck Tack in, a Nebraska graduate, vying for the kicking duties in Hamilton. At 6'4", 235 pounds, and he shows you the heavy leg here. Chris Cunningham back at his 5. The younger brother of Jimmy the Jet Cunningham gets it out across the 15-yard line. You're watching Wendy's CFL Live from Halifax. And we can confirm that the TSN panel has enjoyed the party atmosphere of beautiful Halifax. Argos with the football again in Hamilton territory in this scoreless first quarter. And what is Damon Allen doing, calling his own number? Well, approaching his 42nd birthday in preseason.
You know, on that Tony Miles fumble, he ran up the middle just like that and then threw it the last second. That's one of the things that Damon Allen has changed throughout his career. I mentioned in the opening of the show that Allen is the leading rusher in CFL history for quarterbacks. And Damon Allen, in the last few years of his career, has picked his time when he was going to run the football and thrown on the run a whole bunch more. That time he called the quarterback drop.
5 yards, 2nd and 5. A year ago, broke his leg. Up until that point, he was at 62% completions, 1 interception. Here's Tony Miles, and Miles down inside the 10. Cut from behind by Arabin Justin.
Boy, Tony Miles gets the underneath cut. Watch how the vertical stretch clears up, and then Miles is going to cut underneath right here. Watch how he gets the open area because of the vertical stretch. He comes underneath, lots of room underneath behind the linebackers, but in front of the secondary, and a perfect throw by the man who leads all passers in CFL history, Damon Allen.
31 yards, Allen to Miles, first down. Allen looks right side, off the fingertips of Miles, who got hurt at the same time as Allen midway through last season, and then the Argos offense sputtered for a time. Did Damon Allen get nicked on that last completion of Miles? He's been into the shoulder pads a couple of times, whether he's making an equipment adjustment or maybe feeling some discomfort.
They're playing with a lot of intensity, and you get the feeling that it's when it comes to the contact, more like a regular season game than a preseason game.
2nd and goal. Blitz, and the pass incomplete. Looked like it was intended for Robert Baker, but knocked down by Renard Cox.
Yeah, he jumped it. Renard Cox in his 2nd year at linebacker, but because he's a converted defensive back, Renard Cox jumps almost lines up like he's going to play free safety. He's going to drop out of there. You don't see him in the picture now, but watch to the right of your screen as he jumps that play and is right there. If that ball is not tipped, Renard Cox is going the other way.
and the second time we've seen Wayne Shaw on a safety blitz with the Argonauts in scoring position. So Noel Prefontaine comes on. Try to get the Argos on the board. And it is good. Prefontaine, a 17-yard field goal. And the Argonauts strike first here in touchdown Atlantic.
Well, that's one thing the Argos do not have to worry about in their lineup. It's Noel Prefontaine, who hit on 72.5% of his kicks a year ago. And he's one of those guys that you just can't use the sentence where you talk about kickers and say, well, he's just a kicker. Not with Noel Prefontaine. Noel Prefontaine is an athlete lined up at the kicker position.
I asked Adam Rita about not bringing anybody in to challenge Prefontaine. He said, we got another kicker, Chris Hardy.
Yeah, he's already in the lineup as a backup defensive back, and he can do a pretty good job if Noel Prefontaine has problems with injuries. But Noel Prefontaine is the kicker in Toronto.
All Canadian, and nobody going to challenge that. Ticats will scrimmage. At their 35-yard line, McManus has thrown a pair of interceptions in this first quarter, just over a minute to go. And McManus looking in the flat. This one picked off Jordan Younger, and he will score. Touchdown, Toronto. And the Corners have 3.
Oh, baby. This defensive secondary is at mid-season form. A souvenir for a football fan in Atlantic Canada as Jordan Younger jumped that out and was gone. Jordan Younger reads Danny McManus, who looks that side the entire time, and look at that break on the ball. He was there before the receiver got there.
Flag of the play.
Glenn, we've got the first video challenge, and the question from the Hamilton bench, did Younger step out of bounds?
This is a reviewable call.
Nothing changed. Oh, 5 Argonauts. Nothing's changed.
Jordan Younger was the rookie, and what Greg Marshall hopes will change is this call.
Hope that's the plan. Hey, the lights on.
The official game supervisor is challenging the ruling on the field. We'll review the play.
Okay, George Black from upstairs has requested this challenge. It has not come from the Hamilton bench.
Nothing changed.
We better, baby.
We champs.
on the West Coast.
We champs.
Well, and one of the things, because this is an experiment, the officials, if the coaches do not try and challenge a play, will try and do it just to try and test the system. Now, official has now 90 seconds to make a decision. The video that he's looking at has to be undisputable to overturn the call.
Now, if this was to be an official operation, the coaches would have 1 challenge per half. And if the challenge was unsuccessful, they'd forfeit their timeout. But because the league wants to make sure they do test the system, George Black is using the opportunity to call a challenge from above. And that is the process. And I'm not sure Younger was that close to the sideline, but we just want to test out the system, and we'll see what Glenn Johnson has witnessed under the curtain.
The ruling on the field stands. The player was inbounds. It's a touchdown.
So Jordan Younger, who was an outstanding corner, a CFL PA Eastern All-Star last year in his rookie season, has the 41-yard touchdown. And 3 interceptions in 1 quarter will be enough to prompt discussion back in Hamilton.
Well, this is a great idea, and this is where we're going to go back and take a look at the play. And I love that the officials in the Canadian Football League are testing this video replay system. Now, they have to make sure that they look at that, and right there they see that Jordan Younger is clearly in bounds. So the official ruling on the field, which was a touchdown for Younger, stands. The system is very similar to the National Football League. There are some minor things that are different. We can get into more of those as the game goes on. But they will test this system out. I love the idea. The only concern is, does it take too long? They want to be efficient with it. They want to try and get it right before it's implemented into the regular season.
So the last 3 passes by Danny McManus have been picked off. 30 interceptions a year ago.
You mentioned Jordan Younger in his rookie season last year, and really the only one. And Kenny Wheaton, Steinauer, Ivory, and Smith all played together 3 years. Jordan Younger was a newcomer, was tested a bunch last year, and every time he was tested, he rose to the challenge, like he did right there.
The left footer, Prefontaine, kicks it off, and it's Hugh Smith, who's been a busy and impressive returner across the 40, and a flag thrown as Smith hit the field turf.
Now, I'm certainly not going to give an excuse for Danny McManus in his last 3 throws that were interceptions, but Danny McManus this offseason did something that he's never done in his entire career, and that's a career that spans 16 years, and that's to get a personal trainer.
Holding Hamilton, number 23, on the return, 10-yard penalty, first down.
They'll bring this back after the return, but Danny McManus got a personal trainer and started doing things, exercises that he said he's never done in his career to get in as good a shape as he could where he is in his career. He said, but what it did is it strengthened his torso, it strengthened his arm, and he's had trouble adjusting to the new strength, and maybe that's giving him some problems in this game early.
Leaving him in maybe a little longer than we expected. Davis, and closing quickly, Clifford Ivory.
That's a good point you made, Chris, because Greg Marshall wanted to play Danny McManus for basically most of the first quarter, but get him out in the first. He probably plays longer because of what's happened to McManus. He doesn't want to mess with his confidence. Leave him out there, have some success before he goes to Marcus Brady.
2nd and 8.
Yes, we were told that Marcus Brady would finish the first quarter, but the plot line has changed here, and this will be the final play, barring a penalty. 2nd and 8, up top, and incomplete, looking for Dondra Gilliam. Gilliam, who had been the premier Ticat receiver in training camp. So an incompletion on the final play of the opening quarter, with the Toronto Argonauts leading the Hamilton Tiger Cats by 10. 10-0 Argos. First quarter stats brought to you by Rona, the how-to people.
Well, these numbers right here are kind of small right now because these numbers are big, and that tells you one thing. It's a preseason game.
You always find defense way ahead of the offense at this stage?
Well, offense is about timing. Defense is about getting after the football, so yeah, you get the jump.
Tax punt, bouncing out of bounds at the 43-yard line. Just a 38-yarder. Tack will punt in the first half. Jamie Borum in the second half, and we have a new quarterback for the Argonauts, as Scott Covington is the number 2 man here tonight. 12 starts at the University of Miami. He has seen action with the St. Louis Rams, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Kansas City Chiefs. And play action, throwing to Baker, and closing quickly, Jason Goss to limit the gain.
So Damon Allen gets 1 quarter play in the first preseason game, and in that quarter, executed some good passing plays. Covington, obviously very different style of passer than Damon Allen. He's not going to get out and run quite as much. He's a pocket passer. He's played under pressure, and the coaches love his composure. Nothing really rattles Covington in the pocket. There's Damon Allen's numbers.
2nd and 8. They say he's quiet, almost introverted, but has command of the huddle. And he had Arlen Bruce, but Bruce couldn't hold on. The pass behind the intended receiver.
Well, this is quite the battle between Scott Covington and Charlie Peterson, not for the 2nd team spot, for the 3rd team spot. Michael Bishop is in arena football right now in an all-star deal with arena football. He will be the number 2 quarterback, and when Damon Allen got hurt last year, Michael Bishop went 5-2-1. They're comfortable with Bishop as number 2. So this battle Scott Covington is in right now is for that number 3 spot. Someone goes home.
There's Steve Suter battling for a return position with Hugh Smith, and Smith's getting most of the action, but now we'll see what Suter can do. And Steve Suter with a surge right up the middle, up to the 32-yard line. The all-time leading Maryland punt returner. Scott Covington, the second quarterback for the Argos, as they scrimmage from their 25-yard line. Robert Baker in motion, Hakeem Hill the carry, off the right side, and Hill still on his feet. And he's looked impressive so far tonight. That catch on the opening play, and now this run.
Chris, I went around to almost all the coaches, about 4 or 5 different players. I said, okay, tell me one player that we should all watch for in this preseason game on the Toronto Argonauts roster, and they all, to a man, said Hakeem Hill. This is a guy, you talk about balance in his game. Talked about his power, his speed, and he likes to block, too.
Ripped off 20, first down, Covington wide open, Tony Miles. And Miles is escorted out of bounds by Jason Goss.
That's the type of play Scott Covington wants to have success with. And what he did is he showed us that composure that Ken Austin and Mike Clemens talked about. Composure in the pocket, a little pump fake to draw the defenders forward, and then drops that one in the bucket right over the top to Tony Miles. Pretty nice release from Covington to Miles.
Covington's had a sore right shoulder, has not practiced the last few days, but has a hot hand right now. And right back to Tony Miles. Not only was he recovering from the shoulder, but also with his wife as they celebrated the birth of a son a couple of days ago.
Congratulations to Scott Covington, and you really want to congratulate him on this drive because he's putting together a nice drive. And sometimes in the preseason, because it is so limited, the playing time you get, one drive can make or break whether or not you make the team.
Eyeing 2nd and 3, 6 receivers out, and Covington swings it to Hill, working against Baranachia, and will have the first down at the 25.
You know, you talk about some of the holes we talked earlier on that the Hamilton Tiger Cats have to fill on defense. Covington has had time in the pocket. James Cotton and Jeremy Lawrence, the 2 defensive ends, are newcomers to the Hamilton defense. Now, Cotton does have CFL experience a few years back in Calgary, but they've been quiet in this first half.
Argos using, on the depth chart, their starting 5 offensive linemen. Robert Baker the catch inside the 15, another first down. An impressive march being put together by Scott Covington.
What they're expecting from James Cotton and Jeremy Lawrence on defense is a little more of that upfield pressure. When you get on the edge is where you can get those one-on-ones. Again, Scott Covington stood in that pocket with no one in his face. Cotton and Jeremy Lawrence were nowhere to be seen. Now, Lawrence, in fairness, is a converted linebacker, so he's got to learn that rush end position, and he's got to do it in a hurry.
Right now, the tackles, Fugel and Williams of the Argos winning that battle. First down, flag down. Covington in the flat. Looked for Miles, incomplete.
You know what I love about this play, though, from Scott Covington, is now this is where the composure. He uses even the snap count. He uses a change up in the snap count to assist him in this drive, which has been so successful so far. And I believe he drew Jeremy Lawrence offside.
Offside. Toronto number 18. That penalty's declined. It's 2nd down.
Well, it was Soward that drew Jeremy Lawrence offside. And that's Soward who just got a little bit of a jump on it. But here's Lawrence. He jumped into that neutral zone. Covington trying to use that snap count.
So it's 2nd and 10 from the Hamilton 13. Covington with some time, and an incomplete incompletion. Robert Baker stretched out, couldn't reel it in.
And there you see Covington as opposed to Damon Allen. Now, Damon Allen makes that throw in his sleep because that's a throw that you make on the run. And Covington, you could see he's not as mobile as Damon Allen. He had a little bit more problems throwing on the run, and that ball was just a little low.
But throughout that series,
looked
good protection, and he moved the football.
Yeah, he looked real good. 5 of 8 for Scott Covington in that series, and that helps you a long way to making a team.
Noel Prefontaine has hit from 17. This will be a 19-yard attempt. Kevin Iben, the holder, and a flag down. And we'll wait to find out what Glenn Johnson's crew is about to call. Prefontaine over to find out if that will stand. And it's procedure Argos. They'll have to do it again.
It's well within Noel Prefontaine's range. Interesting, though, we talked about Kevin Iben of the starting lineups in the year he had. It's not very often you have a linebacker.
Toronto, no end, 5-yard penalty, repeat third down.
Just let me know you want me to block.
Not very often you have a linebacker holding on field goals and extra points. Kevin Iben last year made 110 tackles, and he held on field goals.
Just a triple nominee as outstanding player, top Canadian, top defensive player, and he holds to boot. And so this attempt from the 24, and Prefontaine puts those points right back on the board as the Argos up their lead in Halifax. Back at Husky Stadium, and Damon Allen coming back into the game with 1:28 as Pinball Clements giving him the 2-minute drill.
Yeah, just letting him get a little 2-minute practice, trying to get the ball out there to Hakeem Hill.
Throws the incompletion.
Hamilton, number 96, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
88 seconds remaining on the clock. The penalty against the Tiger Cats gives the Argos 1st and 5. And Hakeem Hill.
Chris,
Near a first down.
I know this is preseason, but let's go back a couple of plays if we could, because this does not look like preseason to me. You tell me if it's a preseason game, you hear hits like this. Marvin Godbolt on Julian Radlin, and that was a bolt of lightning from Godbolt.
So in about 5 plays, we mentioned Godbolt 3 times, and for Marvin Godbolt, that's a good thing.
It sure is, and you know, you talk about the great plays he made on defense, but that's the one that in the film session, the entire team, because the whole team watches special teams, in the film session, everyone's going to jump out of their seat when Godbolt hits Julian Radlin in film like that.
There's Andre Talbot with the catch, and the Argos looking impressive on this 2-minute drill. And now Gonzalo Segovia goes down as he cramps up and will get attention. And the Argos will get a chance to huddle up, but Allen goes to the sidelines to get some instructions from Ken Austin.
Talked to Ken Austin about Damon Allen's training camp, and he just had this grin from ear to ear about how well Damon Allen's playing. And he just, like he does with everybody, football fans across the country, Ken Austin, the offensive coordinator, feels the same as all those fans when they look at Damon Allen at 42 years old and think he's having a tremendous training, maybe the best training camp I've seen in a few years.
You know, Ken Austin, veteran in the league and now a coach for a number of years. Damon Allen was in the league 3 years before Ken Austin started as a player, and he's still here. I'll tell you what, Ken Austin can still zing the football at training camp. One of the days I visited, Austin was letting it go, but Damon Allen not only was throwing with the right hand, he can throw with some stuff on the ball left-handed. Just an amazing athlete.
Yeah.
There should be scientific studies done.
Well, I still get the questions as I go across the country, and we have through training camp and covering different CFL camps and talk about Damon Allen, and I have answered it with saying, you know, I played against Damon Allen. And I've been on football for 10 years. He's still going and still looking great.
And there's no indication this is like the victory tour. This isn't necessarily his final year. Drops the ball and then has to drop right back on it.
Yeah, that was probably our fault. We talked him up a little bit too much.
It's still preseason.
Yeah, it's still preseason, and he's still human. Even though you shake your head and wonder if he's human, if he can play football at his age. But occasionally Damon Allen will, like everybody, make an error.
And now with 1:04 to go, it's 3rd down and 8, and it looks like Pinball Clements is just saying, keep her going. And Damon Allen isn't sure that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, he's going to call a timeout. I think they wanted to go for it. I'm not sure they had the right personnel. And this is another thing. When you're changing lineups, you got 55 guys on the sideline. Different players are playing at different times, and you got to have the right alignment and the right personnel on the field for no other reason than to make sure you protect the quarterback properly. It's secondary as to whether the play works or not. Primary to protect your star in Damon Allen, and if you have a blocking assignment problem because you have the wrong personnel and you get your quarterback hit, that's a big problem.
Allen was saying earlier in the week that last year it took them 3 days with a whole new core of receivers to just get the alignment of all their plays down in training camp. This year, that same exercise took 1 morning.
Yeah.
That's how far ahead the Argos offense is compared to a year ago. So here we go, 3rd down and 7. Out of the shotgun for Damon Allen. Lots of time, and the ball picked off. Dave Stipe, a reserve linebacker with a flag down, has the interception for the Tiger Cats.
Dave Stipe did a nice job of turning backwards and really having to contort his body to get back there to make that interception. Damon Allen tried to muscle it in there.
Offside, runner number 5, penalties decline.
Arlen Bruce was offside, so the Dave Stipe interception, a 29-year-old out of Bishops, his interception will stand.
And Marcus Brady has time. 45 seconds is plenty of time to move this football down the field, at least into field goal range. Remember, Greg Marshall's trying to evaluate a couple of kickers here tonight as well. They'd like to at least try that before the half ends.
Brady starts at the 33, 3 receivers wide side. They'll look that way, and Brazel has another catch. And he's close to the 40-yard line with 7. 4th catch of the game for the former BC Lion.
And a great rehearsal for Marcus Brady to now go out and execute the hurry-up offense.
Clock running, they mark it at the 39, 2nd and 4. Time for Brady, dumps it off. Brazel now trying to get to the sidelines, and he won't get there, nor will he get to the first down step.
Oh, and now Greg Marshall has a tough decision. 30 seconds, and he's got to decide whether or not to go for it. It's 3rd and about 3, with the possibility of giving the ball back to Toronto within about 10 yards of field goal range. You know, and make no mistake, I mentioned it already, but preseason is preseason. It's a time to evaluate. Greg Marshall wants to win this football game. He talked about it last night. He talked about it at practice. He talked about it today when he arrived. He was tired of walking across the field and shaking Mike Clements' hands, and Mike Clements had that big smile going, and Greg Marshall had just lost another one to the Argonauts. He wants to win this game, so it is a decision that he's going to think about here for a second as they have the timeout.
With his offensive coordinator, the man in the black hat, Jamie Barisi. And it looks like 3rd and 2 after the spot, just beyond the 41-yard line. Kojo Adu lines up at the tailback position behind Radlin. He has the ball, and he has the first down and more.
Oh, yeah.
And Kojo Adu dragged a few, then dropped it. There is a penalty marker, and they ruled that Adu was down before the fumble. So a couple of things to sort out, and Pinball Clements may throw his challenge flag depending on how Glenn Johnson rules possession of the football.
Offside, Toronto number 98, the penalties decline. First down.
And offside.
Riel Johnson.
Offside, not a reviewable play. Clemens was thinking about it on the fumble end, whether it was down.
He had it poised, but did not throw the flag, so they've used their timeout, so he may not be able to do that.
Well, when the rules eventually they'll be put in place permanently for the regular season. As you mentioned, Chris, if you challenge a play and lose the challenge, you'll lose a timeout.
Procedure, Hamilton, number 52, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
For the purpose of this experiment in the preseason, they will not take timeouts away. They want to test this system. Mike Clemens decided not to challenge the last one, but they will test it throughout the evening.
15 seconds left on the clock. 1st and 15. Brady looked one way, steps up, wide open. Craig Yeast, and Yeast is down with 7.4 seconds left on the clock, and the Ticats in scoring position for the first time.
Marcus Brady looks pretty controlled and composed under this situation. He's moved the football down the field. He's got one play and then get the field goal team out there.
26-yard pickup for Yeast. Clock running. And they've used their timeout, and now they've squandered the field goal chance. So a mistake made, and this will be the final play. Pressure. Brady looks deep, and that's a chip ball for the Argos. And it will be picked off in the end zone.
Now, missed opportunity for the Tiger Cats. Could have put 3 on the board, and clock management, one of the responsibilities of your starting quarterback.
Bashar Livingston, the 4th interception of the opening quarter, as the Tiger Cats let points slip through their fingers. Steve Suter and Hugh Smith are deep. And it will be Smith changing direction and getting across the 35-yard line. And Marcus Brady goes back to work. Again, we thought we'd see him at the start of the second quarter, but Danny McManus ate into a little that time as Greg Marshall gave his starter a few extra series to get on track.
The former Toronto Argonaut, Marcus Brady last year, 55% completion percentage. You know, he played limited action, 482 yards. The thing that Marcus Brady has to get out of is the bad mistake. We saw it at the end of the half. Now, in a regular season game, that's crucial. That's 3 points gone.
And you saw the conversation at the end of the half between Brady and his head coach. Nice play action fake and a completion in the flat, and Dondra Gilliam has the catch. Here's Marcus Brady from a couple of years ago, and really a taste of why there was so much excitement when he was sent to Hamilton as he lit it up in relief of David Allen in the Eastern Final that year, and almost gave the Argos a win.
Well, and it was that game that really has a lot of coaches, or had a lot of coaches in the league, saying this guy's got great potential, but he's got to realize it.
First down. Kojo Adu had a good run in the first half, pushes across midfield and has 7 yards. The McMaster graduate, who had been forced into a fullback role in his first couple of seasons in the CFL, not his natural position, and Greg Marshall felt that he might show well tonight in the running back spot.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people in the entire country cheering for Kojo Adu to do well, and he has. He's had a couple of big carries.
2 carries, 31 yards, 2nd and 3, and now Brady evading the first man, but Bashar Livingston is now on the corner with Chris Aiken. Cut him off before he could get back to the line of scrimmage.
A nice job on the fake for Marcus Brady, but Bashar Livingston may be the fastest Toronto Argonaut, and we talked about a lot of guys with speed over there. You look at the receiving core and Hakeem Hill and on and on. Well, Bashar Livingston, we know what he can do in the return game, getting the chance to play some corner.
Here's a guy that's a triple threat. He can play receiver, play corner, and as good a returner as there is in the Canadian Football League. Hamilton is going for it on 3rd and 3. Quick hitter was picked off. That's Greg Golden with the interception. That's interception number 5 for the Argo defense tonight.
Intercepted by number 42, Greg Golden.
Steve Suter, the newcomer, and you talk about not being on the same page. How about reading different books? Steve Suter's going to go straight down the seam. Marcus Brady thinks he's going to pull up hot, and look at Suter. He didn't look back until he was about 20 yards past the football. Marcus Brady throwing it to a spot, and it was a spot that a double blue jersey was standing in.
Something a head coach in Saskatchewan never said. What's Suter thinking?
That was a long time ago. You see Hitchcock getting up there. That's a nice interception by Golden. You saw him make a play early in the first half. This is a matchup I was talking about. Hitchcock getting a chance to play. Rob Hitchcock, for years, has been the starting safety for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. One of the big hitters in the league from that position. You can see the leadership skills.
Hamilton, number 47, 5-yard penalty. Beat first down.
Take a look at Rob Hitchcock close in a hurry and make a nice tackle in the open field. He is battling right now with Donovan Carter at the weak side linebacker position. And only one can start. Both are veterans.
And both former safeties. Here's John Williams. And Williams smothered at the 40.
Well, it's interesting when you look at the two of them because both Rob Hitchcock and Donovan Carter are similar styles at the safety spot when they played there. Donovan Carter in Ottawa, Hitchcock with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And you see Hitchcock again involved in that play. Hey, in the game of football, you're only as good as your last year. You're only as good as your last game and your last play. And that doesn't change if you're a veteran or a rookie. You have to earn your job every year, including a veteran like Rob Hitchcock's playing hard to earn that spot.
11th year, first training camp where he's not a safety. Here's Covington in trouble, and down he goes for the first time tonight. The Ticats get to the Argo quarterback.
Hitchcock was there, got some good pressure, came flying up in there. Andy Pettick was also involved, a newcomer. Hitchcock is right there to the left of your screen. He takes on that block on the inside and gets there to clean up on Covington. Watch the pressure. He takes the double team away, and when you take a double team from the linebacking spot, someone's free.
Torrance Hagee will get credit for the sack. Active series for Hitchcock, and Prefontaine kicks it away. Hugh Smith and Chris Hardy among the downfield tacklers for the Argonauts. For every sack in tonight's game, Purolator will donate the quarterback's weight in food to help a local food bank, and every sack helps Purolator tackle hunger across Canada. A couple of sacks in this game tonight. That's how they lined up last year, and Hamilton at the top.
Matt Petts just got that one. Covington weighs 218, so 218 pounds of food.
Marcus Brady is sacked, and there's another for Purolator.
Okay, so let's see Marcus Brady now. Marcus Brady's weighing in at 210, and you got Covington at 218. Quick math would put that at 428.
And the former Cincinnati Bengal making the donation, Riel Johnson.
Oh, and he just right around there, right around the horn in a hurry.
Native of White Rock, BC. Brother T.O. is the tight end with the Oakland Raiders. Second and long, and Brady under the gun again, over the middle. Andre Gilliam couldn't bring it in. He's had a couple off his fingertips tonight after what we were told has been a spectacular camp.
Yeah, and he's got to make that catch. I know it's early, but that's a great throw by Marcus Brady on the run. He gets flushed a little bit, and he puts this in really a small area. He's got to get this thing and thread the needle a little bit, get the defenders in close proximity, and Dondra Gilliam has got to come up with that catch for the Ticats. He knows it. See him shaking his head.
So Jamie Borum must punt the football. And again, Michael Palmer awaits at the Argonaut 50-yard line. Good kick by Borum. And Palmer straight ahead with a couple of blocks and into Hamilton territory down to the 45-yard line. Well, there's Wayne Smith, and He has a namesake that's a native of Halifax, and I would guess the greatest football player to come out of Halifax, Wayne Smith. Remember the Ottawa Rough Rider, defensive end, two-time All-Canadian, Grey Cup winner with the Rough Riders in the 70s, but this area really churning out great talent from Sidney Crosby to world champion Colleen Jones, and the list goes on. It's a terrific sports area. And Charlie Peterson now in at quarterback, but let's just finish the thought. I had the pleasure of covering Steve Giles and Karen Furno, who are our world champions canoe and kayak. Kirk Johnson, the highly ranked heavyweight. Steve Morley, the #1 draft choice a few years ago in the CFL, played for Calgary, now with the Green Bay Packers. And Jamie Bone is great a quarterback as we've seen in the Canadian intercollegiate ranks.
And not just athletic stars coming out of the Halifax area. How about Sarah McLaughlin? Is from here. Sarah McLaughlin. Yes. Also, they're from the Maritimes, not necessarily Halifax, but got their start here. The band Great Big Sea. And when you're in Halifax, believe me, you want to be consequence-free.
We may hear some of that tonight. Here's Connor Healy with the pickoff as Charlie Peterson's intercepted. And the youngster from Laurier has an interception for the Tiger Cats.
Nice job by Connor Healy to stay in the trail position and have confidence that the receiver will not run by him. Man-to-man coverage across the board, and Healy's just in the trail. You want to stay in the back hip of the receiver with the confidence that you have the speed to keep up with him if he puts it into high gear. Healy does that. Ball's a bit underthrown. Nice interception, and back he comes.
Under 5 minutes remaining in the third quarter, and the Ticats sticking with Marcus Brady and going to the big fullback Julian Radlin, and you get a taste of the power from the Ticat fullback.
Well, it's a nice combination, and when these two teams play, Julian Radlin and Troy Davis, against a 34 defense, which is what the Argos run. 34 defense is very simply 3 down linemen and 4 linebackers. Tremendous against pass, great in disguising blitzes, not so good against the run at times.
Like O'Shea saying, the Argos can get a lot better on defense, and that, of course, the #1 area. Here's Gilliam, and he lunges forward for the first down.
Last year, versus the run, the Argos defense gave up 140 yards a game, which was dead last. And against the pass, we're third. And, you know, you talk to the Argos coaching staff, and they'll tell you, you know, they can improve, sure. But they're fine with that. The Canadian Football League is about throwing the football. You can put a good pass defense on the field, you have a chance to win.
None of the starters in for the Argos right now. Radlin, big hole right side. He'll rumble into Argo territory down to the 45-yard line. So Julian Radlin getting his chances in a 16-yard rumble for the big fullback.
If you're looking at this from the coach's perspective, and keep in mind that this is a game that a lot of evaluations are going on, Greg Marshall's got to be happy with a couple things. He's seeing some different things out of Julian Radlin in this game that I think he saw all of last year. I mean, the potential's always been there with Radlin, but he's seen it actually come to life here with a couple of big runs and good play out of his defense, because it should be a different score.
You made the point that every time Radlin carries, Davis doesn't, but you wonder if Radlin becomes a more used weapon, whether it might, in a different way, help Davis.
Without question, because it takes some pressure off Davis, and it's a good point, because when you have one running back that does all the ball carrying, then that defense really just focuses right in, and the linebackers will not even look at Julian Radlin. Now, Troy Davis has been out. It's the preseason. He's been out after the first half, resting over there for preseason number 2. But when they're in there together, it could be a nice double threat this season.
There is an Argonaut injured, and we'll monitor his progress when we come back. Ticats with a first down at the Argo 45. They're going to go back to Radlin, and why not? Crash pushing down to the 35. Another first down.
Now, with the running that's happening right now for the Hamilton Tiger Cats and all the running plays, Toronto Argonaut fans might be a little worried and saying, hey, is our run defense a little shoddy? Well, I don't think you'd worry too much. I think Mike Clemens is still making substitutions on defense. I believe Chris Schultz mentioned the Hamilton Tiger Cats didn't bring many offensive linemen. They're playing a lot of the starters, so they should be having some success.
Radlin, the number 3 pick in the 2003 draft, and 33's got a whole lot more. Down inside the 20, and finally Chuck Winters upends the big back.
Big Wayne Smith is out there. Marwin Hage, who's a newcomer, but starting at that guard position, he was starting. Watch the holes that the guys up front make for Julian Radlin. Marwin Hage gets a nice turnout block, and not a big concern for Rich Stubler, who knows he's got a lot of backups in there right now, wants to see how they perform.
17 yards, the last carry by Radlin, who had a 16-yarder earlier in the series. Under 2 minutes to play, Ticats threaten, and Brady just got it away. Incomplete. Hard charging was Marvin Godbolt.
Marvin Godbolt from Texas Christian. And first trivia question of the year, Chris. What other CFL stars played at Texas Christian?
Well, there's a quarterback that we got to know pretty well last year by the name of Printers, and a rancher from Texas by the name of Jason Tucker.
Nice. Good start in the trivia department.
Don't expect it to continue. Here's Brady, second down, looking deep for Gilliam. And a hand on the back of Gilliam will draw the flag.
They got it from the backside. The back judge didn't notice it because Gilliam was running right at him, and the pull came from behind.
I believe it was Hurley Tarver who got a hand on him.
First of all, in the film, Gilliam's going to want to break it off and go more down the middle. When he goes across,
Toronto number 29 in the end zone. Ball goes to the 1-yard line.
You're going to see the pull by Hurley Tarver right at the end of the play. And Marcus Brady had to hang on to allow Gilliam to get open.
Antonio Watson unloading on Brady. Longest drive of the night, and the Ticats have it down at the 1. First and goal. And the give to Radlin, touchdown.
Oh, yeah. It was the Radlin drive. Why not?
They couldn't stop 33. Now we've got a game. As the Ticats get on the board in the final minute of the third quarter.
Julian Radlin, 6 runs for 61 yards on that drive. Why not give it to him and let him take it into the end zone? We'll just stamp that, the Julian Radlin drive. For the Hamilton Tiger Cats, they're back in it.
That's 8 yards fewer than his season totals from last year.
Good sign for Ticat fans.
Chuck Tack handling place kicking, and whoops, off Steve Suter. Tack will throw it up for grabs. Incomplete. So there is a flag, and we'll see if the Ticats get a chance to do that over again. Hamilton trying a few different holders. And Steve Suter had trouble with that. Not sure if it was the snap or the holder.
Toronto, number 23, 5-yard penalty, will apply at half the distance to the goal line and retry the convert.
Bashar Livingston, the guilty party.
That was catchable by Steve Suter, and I know holding is not necessarily the easiest art to perfect. I like what Mike Clemens said about preseason games when he said that in the preseason, no matter how good you look in practice, in the preseason games when the lights are on, you go in one of 2 directions. You either move up or you go the other way, move down.
More trouble as Suter can't field that and has to cover it way back at the 30. So they botch it twice, and there'll be some work to do in that department. Well, we have an expert holder in the booth, and Steve Suter, not yet an expert holder.
Well, most holders in the league will take their gloves off, whether you're a receiver, quarterback, or whatever, to hold on field goals. Steve Suter has his gloves on. Take a look. The snap was pretty hot, but still right at the target and catchable. Here comes the second. We'll take a look at it. In behind the official a little bit. Now, that one's a little high and outside. That was a tougher one for Steve Suter. He put that on the center.
Matt Robichaud is the long snapper for the Tiger Cats. And they'll be working overtime on the extra points after that. And cut down on the plate, Derek Coombs on that kick return. 20 seconds to go, third quarter. Flag down. And it looked like the Ticats may have been offside on that kickoff.
That's another thing you see a lot of in the preseason, and that's penalties, offsides.
Offside on the kickoff. Hamilton, number 25, will re-kick, 5-yard penalty.
Offsides being for a couple of reasons. We've seen a lot of offsides on offense, procedure, offsides on defense. One of the reasons for that, Jerome Erdman in charge of the special teams in Hamilton, not happy with it. But one of the reasons for it is that guys want to impress. You want to get down the field and make the tackle in the preseason and get on game film. If you don't make the team. So guys are jumping the gun a little bit, and they had a nice special teams tackle down here, and it's going to go back and get to kick it again.
And Jerome Erdman's not happy with the last 3 plays. I mean,
yeah,
it's not often you have 3 special teams plays in succession that all go wrong. Tack, short kickoff. It may be 4 as he kicks it out of bounds. And we better keep the ISO cam on Jerome Erdman because
well, they're correctable mistakes. That's the good news. You know, when you're evaluating players and you're looking at, did they get beat physically, did they make mental mistakes, that's what you have to look at, because mistakes are made.
Hamilton, number 35, ball goes to the 45-yard line.
They've got 11 days.
First down.
In 6 days, they meet the Argos again at Ivor Wynne. June 22nd, they go to Molson Stadium in Montreal to meet the Alouettes. Our season opener. Argos home opener and season opener June 25th. The rematch of the Grey Cup against the BC Lions. Are expecting over 40,000 at Rogers Centre for that. John Williams with the cutback across the 50 to the 53-yard line on the final play of the third quarter. The 2 teams are separated by a touchdown after 45 minutes of football. Argos lead by converted touchdown. Stats after 3 quarters brought to you by Rona, the how-to people.
Well, again, Matt Dunnigan mentioned it at halftime. Stats and numbers that are typical of a preseason game. We don't have penalties up there because they may be more total than the offenses in some cases.
BYU graduate Charlie Peterson at the controls. Michael Palmer, the Burlington native, with a catch in traffic and a first down on 2nd and short.
Charlie Peterson is an interesting story, and talked to offensive coordinator Kent Austin. He was telling me that Peterson reminds him a little of Kent Austin, and the fact that he's a fiery guy. He wears his emotions on his sleeve a little bit. He likes to run around and move in the pocket, a little bit more mobile than Covington. I'm very interested to see how he's going to perform tonight.
Played Arena League with the guy you know well, John Gregory, in Carolina. First down, play action, and the shovel. That's Brian Crawford, the Queens graduate.
That's a well-executed shovel pass from Scott Peterson. And go through his college bio, and he had a season high in college, 284 yards versus Hawaii, and broke a record held by Jim McMahon.
That's pretty good company when you're doing that.
Pretty good. So, you know, he's played in some pressure games in college, and they like how he can move around in the pocket a little bit, make things happen with his legs. He's got a good tutor or mentor when it comes to that, and that's Damon Allen.
Brother Paul in the camp of the Ottawa Renegades. Family of 10. And an injured cat down. Matt Petz shaken up on the catch and run by Brian Crawford, who's a Hamilton native out of Barton Secondary. So Pets getting attended to. And we'll take a break. You're watching Wendy's CFL Live from Halifax. Now Matt Pets under his own steam off the field and now getting more attention at the bench. He's had a good night at the middle linebacker spot, and that play doesn't get off as Charlie Peterson looked like he drew the Ticats offside, unless somebody on that Argo offensive line moved.
It's whether or not you flinched on offense.
Offside. Hamilton, number 94, 5-yard penalty.
Devontae
Second
Peterson.
down.
Peterson drew Peterson.
Devontae Peterson, public enemy number 1 in Winnipeg after the controversial hit last year,
which actually led to a rule change.
The clothesline of Keith Stokes. 2nd and 2. And it's Crawford straight ahead. And the Hamilton kid has a first down against the team he grew up cheering for.
When I talk about Devontae Peterson, you talk about that clothesline, Winnipeg's Keith Stokes, and I mentioned rule, and it's the rule when they talk about the instant replay. There's been something that's different in the video replay that we're testing here tonight. Devontae Peterson, when that happened, they put a special rule in for that alone.
Argos didn't have a first down in the third quarter, but they're moving now, and downfield, Palmer's got it! Michael Palmer inside the 5. And Michael Posey saved the touchdown.
But Palmer beat Posey to the post, and that's exactly why Posey had to do the diving tackle to save a touchdown, because Palmer got nice inside position from the left of your screen. One-on-one with no safety in the middle. And that's exactly where Peterson throws it to the spot. And Mike Palmer got inside position on the post. Devontae Peterson, you saw him offside in the last play, and this time just a step late. Peterson completes a strike down the middle.
33 yards for Michael Palmer, 1st and goal. Brian Crawford stacked up. Nothing there.
That's all, guys. That's all.
But Charlie Peterson struggled in camp. He was running 3rd in a 3-quarterback race, but you brought up the Mike Pinball Clemens quote about when the lights go on, you don't stay the same. You either get better or you get worse. And apparently the BYU kid gets better.
And sometimes you look like deer in the headlights. But Charlie Peterson doesn't look like that, for sure. He's put a nice drive together.
First pass was picked off, so it was a tough start, but he has something going now. And it's 2nd and goal from the 5. Heat's on, got it away, tip drill, and incomplete. Looked like that one almost ended up in the arms of...
But there's a play, just for an example, that Charlie Peterson makes that probably, and nothing against Scott Covington, who has his own pluses, but Charlie Peterson makes his play with his legs because pressure coming from the outside is right there. He didn't get this ball off if he can't move. And if he's a pocket passer, he's hit right in the back on that play. That's what they like about him. He can create a little bit.
So 3rd down, a field goal situation, and Chris Hardy, who was a hero last year, hitting 3 straight field goals when Noel Prefontaine went down with an injury against Hamilton. And Hardy, the backup, is good again. Nothing but perfect for the backup safety and the backup Argo kicker. It's a 10-point Argo lead with 11 minutes to go. And a play action, Brady rolling and unloading deep. Looking for Suter, and incomplete up against Derek Coombs.
Suter struggled in this game, and he, they felt pretty highly of him. It's still early. It's not necessarily that Suter's looking for the apple in the roadmap and he gets back to his locker, but he was part of the problem with an interception early on. You saw him have problems with the holding, and that time he just misjudged the ball. He had a chance at that deep ball from Marcus Brady, and he misjudged it.
And it's the ups and downs of trying to make a team. Last Saturday at Ivor Wynn, he was one of the stars of the black and gold game. People were saying, boy, this suitor might be something. Marcus Brady has missed on his last 6 passes, 2nd and 10. And that makes it 7 straight as he's unable to hook up with Saskatchewan grad Chad Rempel.
Yeah, and he had to get that out of there because Antonio Watson, backup linebacker, was right in Marcus Brady's face. So we saw some things like you've seen from Marcus Brady in his time in the Canadian Football League, which is 4 seasons now. At times he's looked like he could move the team. At times he's even looked like he could be a starting quarterback, and then at times just can't get it done. And I don't know if Greg Marshall has any answers just yet with regards to Marcus Brady.
It all was going positively, and then that misfire on the last play of the first half, and now 7 straight incompletions.
Well, and early on, remember, Chris, he had Craig East wide open and missed him there. So
Chuck Tack with flags down, and Michael Palmer trying to get outside and ran out of real estate on that far side and does some hurdling.
The other side of the coin, Palmer has done some nice things. He's made some returns, caught a couple nice ones. Remember the post to get him right down to the goal line.
Has worked on his speed in the
Illegal
offseason.
substitution, Toronto number 2. It's a 10-yard penalty, first down.
Illegal substitution, the call against the Argos. Well, there's Chad Folk. He's done for the night, but he wanted to make sure we wished his dad, Tony, a happy birthday watching in Kelowna. Chad in his 9th year, a couple of Stanley Cups.
Call you later.
Beautiful. We don't have to do it. He got to do it.
There's the happy birthday, and we have time because Mike Clemens has just thrown the flag to review a play.
Clint Johnson and Pitbull smiles. What's it all about?
Well, I think they did it because they wanted us to wish Chad's dad a happy birthday. So they needed some more time to do that. Now they're experimenting with this, and
I'm not sure what happened out there that could be challengeable. So we'll get it sorted out.
basically we go back again. It's rules that will be challengeable.
Okay. Yeah, so he was right there. Right there.
When this is put in place, and it won't be this year.
Oh.
Toronto is appealing the ruling on the field that number 2 never left the field to play. Therefore, there should be no illegal substitution penalty. We'll review the play.
Substitution problem. But basically what will happen is plays that depend on the official's judgment will not be reviewable. Plays like whether or not a running back or receiver crosses the goal line. Was he in or out of bounds? Did he make the catch or not make the catch? Did he fumble or not fumble the ball? Will be reviewable plays. And again, you have 90 seconds to make the determination from the official's point of view. See whether it will be overturned or not.
And we're told that once the 90 seconds expires, it's inconclusive and the ruling on the field will stand. I think in this case, Michael's trying to be the good CFL citizen and make his one challenge. I gotta make one, I gotta find something.
Well, and the head of officiating, George Black, also told us that if it didn't come up with the coaches, that they would probably do it from an officiating crew anyway. That wouldn't happen once it's put in place. The officials wouldn't have the opportunity to do that from up here or down in the field. It would have to come from the coaches.
Upon review of the play, there's no evidence that number 2 stayed on the field. Therefore, the appeal is not upheld. The ruling on the field stands. It's first down.
And Michael Clemens clearly upset by that.
They have to have evidence to overturn.
And that's the other thing. The officials have to see it. So if it's not in any of the replay angles, then
It's all about the evidence.
the evidence isn't there.
Back it up, guys.
Just past the 5-minute mark of the fourth quarter. And Ben Sankey comes in at quarterback for the Tiger Cats. He's got 10 minutes. And a 10-point deficit. Sankey in the flat. There's Suter. Shakes a tackle across midfield and hauled out at the Argo 51.
Steve Suter needed that, and Ben Sankey did a nice job of having a little patience when he dropped back with that pass and getting it out there to Suter and letting him do the rest.
And Greg Marshall asked the question rhetorically yesterday, can he step up in his 6th year in the league, Ben Sankey, and prove that he deserves a spot as the number 2 man, even challenge for number 1?
Yeah.
And there's an opportunity here based on the other 2 tonight. And there was one opportunity missed with Yeast open.
Well, there's patience on the first down, and the second throw for Ben Sankey, he showed a lack of patience because he rushed that throw and one hop. But you're right. And again, you should mention this one more time. Greg Marshall is looking for, out of his second-team quarterback, a guy that will get significant minutes in the regular season when the game is in balance. So it's important for these quarterbacks.
Sankey last year, his only duty was as a holder. Under pressure, gets outside. And now Yeast wide open. Here's Yeast inside the 15. And it is a touchdown, but it's coming back. Sankey, they are going to rule was across the line of scrimmage and will probably have a challenge. And let's
see.
Go to video replay to clarify this.
You know what? This is a perfect opportunity to test the system. I believe that's the call. Greg Marshall has the flag in his right hand, and he's waiting to see what the call will be.
What's the call?
He won't challenge till he knows the call.
There's no infraction on the play. The quarterback did not cross the line of scrimmage. It's a touchdown.
Didn't have to make the challenge.
Well, now pinball, Mike Clemens just threw his flag out because he wants to know, did he cross the line of scrimmage or not? And in case the official didn't see it, he threw it a little further.
And Craig East went over and mockingly kicked at
that the quarterback
pinball's challenge.
the line of
Yeah, this is a judgment call. You can't challenge this judgment call.
You threw the flag. You threw a penalty.
Oh, I know. So, and then I checked with the guy who's on the line of scrimmage who doesn't move, and he said he clearly was behind the line of scrimmage.
So,
It's a judgment call.
so what's
You can't actually challenge
the
it.
explanation now? Again, it goes right back to the original rules. If it is a judgment call by the official,
You either over or you're not.
See, I don't know why that's a judgment call.
because in the field of play, according to the rules, if you get down to the goal line, and this is why they're experimenting with this, on the goal line, it would always be a reviewable play, whether or not the ball crossed the plane. In the middle of the playing field, it's a judgment call, and even if it was a 3rd and 1, and you were talking about whether it was a cross.
Reviewable. Call on the field stands.
Oh, I'd like to see this tweaked because naked eye might not be sure if he's crossed the plane or not. Our replay might have been more telling. Flag down as the extra point goes through, but Ben Sankey's got the Tiger Cats close. 80 seconds left. There's the line on Charlie Peterson tonight. The first pass picked off, but since then he has been good. He's waiting for a signal from the sidelines as Michael Palmer limps off.
Well, Pinball Clemens probably didn't have as many questions as maybe Greg Marshall did coming into this preseason game. And his lineup from the Grey Cup team a year ago back intact. But he does know that everything they thought about Hakeem Hill, now they've seen that in this game.
That didn't take long.
Yeah, he's made an impact, so they know they've got a keeper there. And then they got a couple on defense. Byron Parker has done some good things in this game on defense. Marvin Godbolt has done some good things.
There's Brian Crawford taking the handoff up to the 30. Gain of 6 for Crawford.
And Chris, it's not just about the backups and the newcomers to the lineup. You know, Mike Palmer has done some nice things for the Argos in this game. This is a guy who been here 3 years with Toronto, but trying to get himself back into a starting and maybe a few more reps starting offense. Again, in a great receiving core. He's had some nice punt returns. He's made some nice catches. So it's not just the rookies that are trying to impress, but also some of the returning veterans.
You mentioned it early in the game, and we should repeat that we will see or expect to see Michael Bishop next week get his first preseason work, arriving late after an Arena Football League season. Some controversy of whether he was returning, and then leaving this weekend for the skills competition as part of the wrap-up to the Arena League, something that was agreed upon with Argo management, but Bishop, until further notice, remains the backup to Damon Allen.
And then you have the question of Scott Covington and Charlie Peterson. Who's number 3?
2nd and 4. Peterson looking downfield, looking for Cunningham, who went up, but brought it down out of bounds, and it's incomplete. Argos with a lot of receivers, and that's another tough area to crack.
Yeah, it really is. You got the starting group, and then you got a guy like Mike Palmer doing things as sort of your 5th or 6th receiver. Sees well out of bounds. No challenge there possible. But the bottom line is that you look at that 3rd quarterback spot, Scott Covington and Charlie Peterson, and I think Mike Clemens will probably have to go another game and right until the preseason ends before he can figure out who's number 3 behind Michael Bishop and Damon Allen.
Defense did its job. It gets the ball back for the Tiger Cats with a minute left. Hardy the kick. Suter on the run. There is a flag. Late coming. But a no yards penalty against the Argonauts.
Number 80, Steve Suter, the return is a flag.
Every Friday, Wendy's Friday Night Football in high definition.
Now, I have not seen a lot of it, and this is a pretty good deal. I understand that you can. It is pretty nice. You mentioned to me the other day it's some compared to between black and white and color TVs. That's how.
It's a major upgrade, and the fans will enjoy it. Suter quickly out of bounds near the first down stick. 51.3 on the clock. And now the Tiger Cats can contemplate ending the 13-game winless streak. They're down by 3.
Lots of time.
We've had video review tonight. We might get our preseason overtime too. Sankey directing traffic. 5 receiver set. And he has a completion. And Ripple is helping his cause tonight. The 24-year-old out of Saskatchewan. 2-time Canada West All-Star.
The 5th-round draft pick, but Chad Rempel with Mike Morreale nursing a bit of a sore hamstring. Mike Morreale is the starting Canadian slot back, but Rempel made a couple catches in this last couple of drives.
Clock running, first down.
Oh, got him.
And go! And they've got him! Hugh Smith! Look out! Smith is caught when it looked like he was going all the way. Touchdown, saving tackle made by Byron Parker. 39 yards.
The old pump fake on the outside. Watch Ben Sankey. Pump fake there. It's the curl and go down the sidelines. Smith takes off. Parker has to catch him after biting on the curl. Smith gets in behind him, and there's plenty of time now. They're knocking on the door.
Well, they were looking at Smith primarily as a returner, but they did like his receiving ability. And now we're going to have a dramatic finish, but the clock's running. Sankey looks near the end zone. And the pass incomplete, intended for Chris Rankin. Another one of those Canuck Receivers vying for a job.
There's 8 seconds left. We saw what Marcus Brady did just as the half was ending. He lost the 8 seconds and really a chance for a field goal to tie it. Got to believe that Greg Marshall wants to take one crack, but Ben Sankey has to be careful and manage this clock. If he takes the ball, he's got to get it out of there in 3 or 4 seconds so they can get the field goal team and at least tie it.
And how big now the squandered field goal opportunity at the end of the first half. Otherwise, they'd only need 3 to win. 8.9 seconds left. Sankey looking into the end zone and miscommunication.
But a good call. See, this is a call that timing-wise took just under 4 seconds. Craig East goes straight. I'll throw it up and outside. If no one gets it, no problem. We put the field goal out team. If you can try and get out there and run under it, we got a chance to go ahead and win this thing. It's a good call because of the timing. Ben Sankey made the right decision there. Get that ball out of your hands in a hurry and don't lose your chance to tie the game.
We're just now being told that there will not be overtime. So for the Ticats, it's Jamie Boromond to nail down what will be a tie. And Borom puts it through. So 16-16. And they are confirming that for preseason there will not be overtime.
Well, the preseason is a time for evaluation, and the final score really not that big a deal. Obviously you never want to lose no matter what, and that's what these guys are competitive. They don't want to lose, but score not a big deal, and the last thing you want to do is have an injury in overtime. Guys got tired, they've traveled. We are in Halifax.
Well, they played to an overtime tie last year on Labor Day. And Greg Marshall still doesn't get a chance to walk across the field. And
no.
As he said last night, he'd like to see pinball hanging his head a bit. I don't know if pinball ever does,
no.
but he won't tonight.
That never happens.
Still time for one play.
Interesting, though, not a bad drive for Ben Sankey. And that, in a pressure situation, Ben Sankey may have just improved his stock.
Maybe more than one play because the Ticats didn't have the right complement on the field. And in the confusion, an illegal substitution. Looks like the Argos want to kill the clock anyway, but if they march it up a little further, no flag.
There's no infraction on the play. There's no overtime in exhibition. Therefore, game's over.
So they'll shake hands. I think the fans wanted to see a little extra time here.